and welcome to this episode of NODventures. Today we are discussing the Pride Month and Gaming with our three beautiful guests, KeeKee, Sanyah, and Gautam. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi. Okay, so I'm gonna introduce the guests one by one. Let's start with KeeKee, who is a Twitch streamer, cosplayer, and also a biochemist, from what I know. Could you tell us a bit more about yourself? How from biochemistry you went into gaming?
Well, I was born into gaming, so I've been gaming like my whole life. But when I was finishing my bachelor's in biochemistry, I had sprained my ankle, and so I was like bed rested for a while, and I had to like take medical leave from school, so that ended up making me come back to streaming because I used to stream on and off during school. So that's kind of how me coming back to streaming kind of happened. That was in 2018 that I had returned to streaming.
Okay,
so, yeah.
That's a beautiful introduction right there. Let's move to our second guest, Sanyah, who is a blogger, a singer, a gamer, and also a mental health awareness advocate. Hello, Sanyah.
Hello.
Could you please tell us a bit more about your gaming and how do you connect gaming and the mental health awareness advocacy that you're doing?
And as soon as time passed by, like my exams started approaching, I had to get more serious about life. And my exams were approaching, my like final exams of my board exams. And I was kind of like, not kind of, I was really stressed at that time. And as like, it was kind of a therapy for me. Like gaming has always been a therapy for me. So I kind of used it to like relieve my stress.
That's perfect. And our third guest is Gautam, who is deeply involved in esports scene and he aspires to be a filmmaker himself. Hello, Gautam. Tell us a few more words about yourself.
All right. So I've been deeply involved in esports. I had an organization which played Counter-Strike and a couple of games and which represented the country. And after that long break, I still play. It's not like I don't play. So I shifted my focus to filmmaking so that I can do so the stories in gaming sometimes than films which we see. Okay, there are so many games with a better storyline right now and much diversity rather which we saw in gaming, and it's just coming in mainstream cinema right now. So my focus is on that. My focus is on working towards that. Also being connected to gaming at the same time.
Okay, that's perfect. And right now, let's hop into our first question, which is, do you celebrate Pride Month? And if so, how do you celebrate it? And I would like to start with Sanyah in that question.
Last year, when it was my first time celebrating Pride Month, I went to the Pride Parade that happened in Delhi.
Awesome.
I went there. I actually went alone, but the community out there, it's so welcoming. I think I met like 100 people out there, and I made friends with so many. And I think I spent almost 6 hours there. And to be honest, those were the best 6 hours of my life.
I can relate to multiple Pride parades myself in my country and countries abroad. So I definitely understand that beautiful spirit of equality, of connection, and of support to people. Yeah. So it's a very beautiful answer for that. Gautam, do you celebrate and why do you celebrate?
Previously, I didn't have the courage. I didn't have the. I wasn't out yet, so I was thinking about it much that. But then when I went, I connected to people. It was something wonderful. It was something beyond, ourselves. It's not just the identity. It's about the people who worked for this and paved the way for so many years that right now stage we are happily talking about it. So the history behind the Pride March was something I got to know, and it was amazing.
That's amazing. And KeeKee, I know in your streams you always advocate for things that are important for you, and you connect that gaming and entertainment with spreading positive messages and important messages. How do you feel celebrating Pride Month is relevant to people around the world, and how do you feel it in your streams? Do you see, like, over the past years, do you see any difference in terms of people's approach to the Pride Month, to celebration of equality?
Well, I just want to add this tidbit in because it's important. But I've been openly out as bisexual since I was in middle school. So it's just like always been like a part of me, and like I've just always been open about it. And like when I come to streaming, Twitch has like a broad and like really supportive platform for the LGBTQ plus community. So honestly, it actually wasn't too hard to incorporate that into streams and like spread awareness about it. I actually have done a lot of fundraising when I can for pride related things like Trevor Project or like the suicide hotlines for like the LGBTQ plus youth and stuff like that. But I also have like a mixed community of people who are allies and also people who are out. So I guess that kind of like helps with like moving my channel towards that way to like have that inclusiveness. But I don't know, when it's Pride Month, we're just always like happy about Pride Month and like having all the pride emotes in the chat and stuff like that. So I don't know if I answered the question quite as you wanted me to, but I hope I hit the points.
You definitely did hit the points. And for me, I see it's so important that you can find these communities online, that you can find streamers who are just like you, who are openly talking that, hey, it's okay to be who you are. It's okay to love, and you deserve the respect, and you are beautiful as a person. And I think it's an important message to be seen. And I'm so happy that it's so much more accessible for people right now than it was, let's say, 10 years ago. So it always makes me happy to see that. And I would like to move to another question because, of course, the international, like every country has different approach to the equality rights. There are countries that same-sex marriage is allowed, and there are countries in which you can go to prison for it. What is the situation in India right now? How has it changed? I know that in 2018, the Section 377 has been removed, which was a huge step in terms of equality. Could you tell us more about it?
Yeah, so after the decision that was made in 2018, things really changed. I mean, at that moment, people started being more accepting. They were not really sure about what this was, but when that thing just hit, they understood, okay, this is something new, because we were, okay, when we were backwards, we were 50 years backwards of what America is right now, in the mentality of, okay, acceptance. Can we accept this thing? So this is one thing which was introduced as a law, which was removed. But that time in their head, they understood, okay, this is something which is there, which is present. So right, we are one step ahead of, yes, the law is there. We are not going to go in jail for being with whoever we want to be with. That is one step. Second step is public acceptance towards that. Now, third step is the same-sex marriage. So I feel we are heading towards the right thing. So I know it takes time because this is embedded for years in their, they've learned about is this is not right, this is not right. So it takes time to learn something new and implement that. We understand that, but I still suggest people can be more open. People can be really open. It's fine. It's okay.
Thank you for sharing this answer. And I want to move to a next question, which is quite general, but it also can affect the Pride youth. So how to deal with online bullying? Like we can see a lot of times the word gay is still used as an offensive term. And I see it in India and I see it still abroad. KeeKee, have you ever had an experience that there was a wave of negativity towards you connected with your sexual orientation? And if so, how did you deal with that?
Like a lot of like people are more accepting towards women, like when it comes to like being gay, but like if it's a guy, I notice that they're more like, oh, blah blah blah. Like they give them more of a hard time. I guess like the only time, no, I really don't really have a situation, but I do have situations where I've been in game chats or games where and somebody be like that's gay, and or like even people, because it's like, you know, that used to be like a thing to say, like younger people used to like often say that a lot. And so even now, like people, I'm still like educating people on my platform not to say that. And like, I'm like, why is that happy? Like I always, whenever somebody says, oh, that's gay, or, you know, they try to like put it in a negative light, I always like ask that. And then like, they kind of like don't do it anymore. Or, you know, like, you know, tell people not to like say things like that, because it's like being gay is not a negative thing. It's not a bad thing, you know? And so, I just do my best to like educate people, because I personally don't necessarily have experiences where me being bisexual really was like, at least in the gaming space, not yet, you know, because I'm sure somewhere it will come, but I personally haven't had too much like backlash for it. But I do have like male counterparts or friends that have had to deal with that, and I've always advocated and stuck up for them. So
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And Gautam, how is it from your perspective? Because I know that you did have received some online bullying before when you were still living in India and were very active in that esports community. Could you share your experience with us? How did that feel, and how did you deal with that?
So I think the people who bullied me still might be watching this. I'm pretty sure, because they were the reason why I got out of the esports, specifically the mainstream esports, the tournaments and stuff. It got very difficult for me, because at that time I didn't know what I was going through. I was still exploring my sexuality. I didn't know what it. I was completely unaware. In India, we are not educated. No one is educated while growing up, right? No, we all come to know. We all come to know at a certain age where it just hits us, and we just have to go with it. And then at that, I was at that age where things came out, and people got to know that I might be straight. They used it at such advantage that it just kind of backfired for me. So I got very intimidated by it, because I was not confident and I was not sure of who I was. So that was kind of a moment for me. Then later I went and made sure who I was. I identified myself, whatever I was, and I made sure that that was just a part of my identity. I wanted to be known for my work and not for the thing what I do in my room. That is none of anyone's business, basically. So that thing, which it took a while to eradicate that. It took a while to eradicate that, but yes, eventually I had some genuine people also, like people from NODWIN Gaming. They were genuine allies, like proper. I had no one support except for them, and they didn't even had to support, because I was a team owner. I had my own team. Still, they were such proper allies. So getting these allies really helps with online bullying, or any sorts of thing. If you know you have someone, and or either you're very confident enough on being who you are, and you can just tell them, listen, it doesn't bother me at all. I am who I am. It's fine. It's okay. It doesn't matter. That's all. If as a pure kid, if I knew that someone told me that it is okay, that it is fine, I would have been much better in my sense right now, and I would have been much more educated, right? But now that I'm here, it's fine, and I get the chance to educate young people and tell them that it's okay, and it's just a part of it. It's a part of you. There are so many other things you get to do in your life. You get to be so creative. You can do so many other things. So it's just you leave that part alone. There will be bullies in every field. You try not to get affected and just be confident of who you are. That's it.
Thank you for that. And I'm going to ask Sanya right now, apart from what Gautam already mentioned, so apart from showing strong allyship to help people who are struggling with not being accepted by their close ones, by the community, or being bullied, what do you think, what are the best ways to support the LGBTQ plus youth from mental health advocacy perspective?
Okay, so there are like a lot of key points, but first of all, it's to become a listener. Like if someone is sharing the story, there's got to be like a reason. They're literally sharing their own story. They must have like overthought about it a lot of times, and they finally have the courage to share it. So sit down and listen to them, talk to them about it. And also they have to be inclusive, even though they are from this LGBTQ community, but they should not be segregated because of that. Be more open and welcoming towards everyone, and yeah, just learn about their personal space. If they're ready to come out, if they're not ready to come out, then just don't pressure them, don't force them, let them have their own time. Yeah, that's it.
That's a very, very valid perspective to have. And as you said, it's always important to listen to people's stories, to make them feel that they're safe sharing that with you, and don't judge them. Just be there for them, and show that love and show that support and show that they're valid and they're beautiful. And with that, question to you, KeeKee. What do you think, as an industry of gaming and esports, what can we do more from what we're doing? Because again, there are companies who are supporting Pride. There's quite some organizations. Do you think that we can still do more? And if that more would happen, what would that be?
Well, I think one major thing online is that there needs to be some kind of filter to stop people from having offensive names, whether it's like racial slurs or, slurs in general, like discriminative terms. That is like one major thing. I don't think there's enough. Like, I think like after something happens, they're like, oops, but I feel like that's definitely something like people should, like gaming companies and stuff should be on top of. Like, if you have like a name like that, you either get like banned or you're like forced to change your name, or like you can't make the name in general. And that goes for even like streaming platforms, because there are still a lot of like things that people can make as their names, like find ways around it, because people find many ways around that. But yeah, like there's been more and more of like the LGBTQ plus representation in gaming and video games, but I think just having it more be more normalized in gaming, or like I know like a lot of people don't always care about like the sexual orientation of like a character, but sometimes you never know who's playing that game, you never know who's taking in that product. So it's like, if there's like a young person who is out, or even thinking about being out, it's always inspiring to like play a game or see like in games that there's somebody who is unapologetically out, or like doing cool stuff, like being a superhero or something, saving the world, and like they're gay. Like that's really inspiring for even me. Like, I'm 25, but like just seeing more of the representation of the LGBTQ plus, like people in video games has just, it's inspiring, because it means that we're getting somewhere, and we're making progress and making ground when it comes to being more accepting and open, that anybody can be gay, and that's okay, because a lot of times it's frowned upon. So it's just like, it's being more accepted and being more open. Like, companies are being more openly welcoming to have those narratives and have those characters that are unique in those ways. So yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you brought up very valid points about that, especially about the names. There has been a lot of debate surrounding the names, especially under the race of Black Lives Matter movement. And I'm happy to see that there's a debate there, and that the companies are actually starting to see that there's an issue in allowing degradatory names in games, and just giving that platforms to hate. So it's very valid that we really need to look into changing that and not accepting that in the gaming space at all. And as you said, the representation in games, I'm looking forward to more and more characters that represent us as we are, as people, as as the world, that people can see themselves in these games, and that can help them, that can make them happy, and that can empower people, definitely. And Gautam, with what KeeKee said, do you have anything to add in terms of Indian esports and gaming industry in particular, apart from what was said? Is there anything you believe as the industry in India we can do better?
Well, first of all, this scared me off. So try not to scare anyone off who's try not to be intimidating, because of your intimidatedness, we have confidence issues and we cannot do the things we want to do. Try to be more accepted. That's all I can say. The things to work in esports is basically, I mean, you cannot see if someone is gay, let them be gay. It's not something you need to, put it on a poster or something like that. It's fine. They're also part of team or esports. You can be anything basically. You can go into event organization. You can go into be a part of a team. You can even be a player. Anything. You can be anything, and you can be gay. That's all right. So you get to choose your own destiny. What you're good at, and take time decisions. It's fine. You do not need to hurry because the other person wants you to come out. It's completely fine. Regarding esports, again, it's what you get to choose. There are so many fields. If you like something, you can be a streamer, you can be XYZ. You know what I'm talking about because you play the games. So yeah, that's it. That's the change you need. If you're out, if you don't want to come out, it's fine. Just do your work and don't worry about people being mad at you, because there will be people who will get mad about how you are, or there'll be always those people, no matter how much you change. It's just the numbers. If we come out, the more we are, the better we are represented, because that is how you look at, oh, he's gay but he's also successful, right? So it doesn't matter how you come out or what you do. It's your work counts in the end, and that also motivates other people to come out as well, because he is gay and he's successful. That's it. That's it.
With what being said, let's move to our last question. I wanted to focus on what are the resources that you could recommend for the LGBTQ plus youth in India, where they can go, where they can consult someone, where they can find support. Gautam, do you have anything to share in that?
Organization in Mumbai called Gaysi Family. It's called GAYSI, Gaysi spelled as. So this organization started long ago, and it has been helping out kids who are at a young age from 15 to 18 who or 20. There's no age to come out, or there's no age. They've been helping been educating these people. As I had no idea when I came out, I had no idea what being gay meant. I was not educated about this topic. So this organization, I went through Google, I went through online, and this was the only organization. So these organization, they also host the Pride March in Mumbai. Talk to them about anything, and plus they also host cultural activities. They have their competitions, they have painting, they have essay writing. So if you're a writer, you're a painter, you're a musician, you can go, you can meet such people like you who are also in the same community, you also share the same hobby like you. So yeah, this is one place where when I was in India, I was a part of this organization where they were very accepting, very accepting. They didn't matter how you are. If you had a talent, you can come. You can just, if you had a question, you can come and just be a part of the organization.
Perfect. We'll definitely include the link down below in the video so you can check it out. You can go to their website. KeeKee, any big international organizations that you feel are worth mentioning?
I'm not sure if it's international or not. I can't remember how far it extends to, but the Trevor Project is a really good one to be in contact with. I know that they help not only educate, but sometimes if youth are like homeless, they'll help figure out situations for them. They have suicide prevention hotline, or just like a hotline that you can call just to like talk and get counseling or anything that you might need. So yeah, that's a really important one for me to spread. I don't remember how broadly wide that it expands to, but it's definitely a good resource to have if you live in the US. whether like just to call the number as a young youth. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. We'll also include links to the travel project down below in this video. And Sanya, anything you want to tell to people?
I would like to add one thing. Us as professional esports like players or streamers, we need to use our power, that is to influence. Like, not we might have thousands of people who get influenced by us, and there are a lot of big people in this community who influence like even billions, right? So we need to use our power to make people aware about what's normal and what's not. Gay is okay, and if you want to share that, if you want to talk about it, it's okay. If you don't, even that's okay. But it's not okay to stereotype someone.
Definitely. Yeah. It's a very powerful message. And with that, we're gonna close this episode. Thank you to all the guests. Thank you, KeeKee, Gautam, and Sanya for joining us in this episode of NODventures. And remember to check out the links down below that will lead you to the organizations that you can find resources on the topic. And remember, love is love. Thank you.